It was a cold and quiet night. The forest stood still, dark and silent. Only the sound of wind moved through the trees. The moon was bright in the sky. Shining like a silver eye, birds were sleeping. And the world seemed at peace. A young man named Ray walked alone on a narrow path. He liked the forest. It made him feel calm and free. But this night was not normal. Suddenly, the sky changed. A strange light appeared. First red, then blue, then green. It danced across the sky like fire. Then came a sound, loud and sharp. Like something tearing the sky open, Ray stopped. His heart beating fast. He looked up. Something was falling, fast, bright, burning. It crashed into the forest with a loud boom. Shaking the ground under his feet, Ray didn't think. He ran toward the light. The trees were dark. But the crash had left a trail of broken branches and smoke. As he got closer, he felt heat. He slowed down. Hiding behind a tree, his eyes opened wide. In front of him was a small crater, and inside it someone was moving. It was not a monster, not a robot. It was a girl. She looked young, maybe 14 or 15. Her skin was pale, almost glowing. Her eyes were big and silver, like 2 full moons. Her hair floated around her head like it had no weight. She wore a tight silver suit with glowing lines that moved slowly. She looked around, scared, breathing fast. Then she tried to stand, but her legs were shaking. Ray stepped forward without thinking. A branch cracked under his foot. The girl turned sharply. Her eyes locked on him for a moment. They just stared at each other. Neither moved, neither spoke. Then she ran straight toward him. Ray didn't know what to do. He raised his hands. She stopped right in front of him. Her lips were shaking. Her voice was soft and broken. "Please help me," she said. "They are coming." Before Ray could ask who they were, he heard something behind her. A low humming sound, like machines waking up. A flash of red light passed between the trees. The girl grabbed his arm and pulled him behind a large rock. "Don't let them take me," she whispered. "Please." Ray nodded slowly. He didn't understand what was happening, but he knew fear when he saw it. And this girl, whatever she was terrified. He looked over the rock. Shadows moved in the trees. Tall figures in black suits, their faces were covered. Red lights blinked on their heads. They were scanning the area, walking in a strange pattern. Like hunters looking for prey, the girl shivered and held on to Ray's arm. "They are not from my planet," she said. "They are worse." Ray wanted to ask questions. He wanted to understand, but there was no time. The hunters were getting closer. One of them stopped and looked directly at their hiding spot. The red light pointed at them. Ray held his breath. But before the light touched them, a bird flew past. And the hunter turned away. Ray whispered, "Come on," and led the girl through the trees. They moved fast, careful not to make noise. The girl was weak, but followed closely. Her steps were silent, like she had done this many times before. After some time, they reached an old cabin. It was broken and empty, but good enough to hide for now. Ray closed the door gently and helped the girl sit down. She was breathing hard. Her hands were shaking. Ray gave her water from his bottle. She drank it quickly, then looked at him with tired eyes. "Why are they chasing you?" he asked softly. The girl looked down, her voice cracked. "Because I escaped." Ray frowned. "From where?" She looked at him again, her silver eyes filled with pain. "From a lab," she said. "They took many of us, tested us, hurt us. I ran away. I followed the signal that led me." To you, Ray's heart skipped a beat. "Me? Why me?" The girl nodded slowly. "Because you are the last one they fear." Before Ray could speak again, they both heard a deep sound outside, a voice from a machine. Slow and cold. We know you are here. Surrender the subject. Or face elimination. Ray looked at the girl. She was shaking again. He stood up and walked toward the door. His fists clenched. He didn't know why. But he felt something inside him. A fire. A promise. This girl came to him for a reason. He was not going to let her be taken. Not tonight. Not ever. The cabin was cold and quiet. But outside, danger was close. Ray stood by the broken door, his ears sharp, listening to the strange mechanical voice that spoke from the forest. The message was clear: surrender, the girl, or face elimination. The girl sat behind him, hiding in the shadows, her hands shaking, her silver eyes full of fear. Ray didn't know what these creatures wanted exactly, but he knew one thing: he would not give her up. He didn't even know her name yet, but something deep in his chest told him she was important. Not just to him, but maybe to the whole world. He turned to her and whispered, "Do you know a way out?" The girl nodded weakly. "There's a tunnel under this place. It leads to the old railway." Without wasting a second, Ray searched the floor, moving broken wood and dust. His fingers found a small metal handle. He pulled it up. A square door opened with a soft creak, revealing stairs going down into the dark. "Hurry," he whispered. The girl climbed down first, her body moving with silent grace. Ray followed and closed the hatch above them. Just as it shut, they heard the cabin door slam open. Heavy boots stepped inside. A red scanning light swept across the room above their heads. In the tunnel, it was cold and damp. The walls were made of stone. The smell of earth filled their noses. There were no lights, just the soft glow coming from the lines on the girl's silver suit. Ray stayed close behind her, listening to every sound. "Who are they?" Ray asked as they moved deeper. "Why are they after you?" "They are not soldiers," she said softly. "They are collectors. They take rare life forms from many worlds. They use them for tests, power, weapons." I escaped from their ship. Ray's stomach turned. He thought of her small hands, her scared face, and the pain she must have gone through. "Why did you come to Earth?" he asked. She stopped for a moment and turned to him. "I followed a signal. It was calling from this planet. A safe code from long ago. My people left it before they died. It was human-made." Ray blinked. "Human-made." She nodded. "Your kind helped my kind a long time ago. But the collectors erased that history. They don't want peace. They want control." Ray had no words, only questions. But the tunnel opened into a large underground station before he could ask more. It was empty, covered in dust and silence. Old rails stretched into the darkness, and broken signs hung from the ceiling. Suddenly, a sound came from behind, a sharp beep. Then a red laser shot past Ray's head and hit the wall. The stone cracked. The collectors had found them. "Run!" Ray shouted. They sprinted across the platform, climbing over fallen beams and old benches. Another beam hit the ground near the girl's feet. She stumbled, but Ray caught her, pulling her forward. They reached a metal door at the far end. It was locked. Ray kicked it, pulled it, but it wouldn't move. The girl placed her hand on it, and her fingers glowed softly. The lines on her suit lit up brighter. The door clicked and opened. Behind it was a narrow tunnel with metal walls. This was different, newer, cleaner. The girl turned to him, breathing hard. "This place is from before the war." "What war?" Ray asked as they ran. "The one that ended my world," she said. "Humans tried to help us. They sent people scientists. But the collectors attacked them too. They reached a chamber with a strange machine in the center. It looked like a pod, half open. Lights blinked on the side. The girl touched it and it lit up, showing a hologram, a small girl crying. Then a woman speaking in another language. And then a face. Ray gasped. It was his father, The hologram showed his father standing next to the alien woman. Talking, smiling, they looked like friends, partners. The message played in broken English. If you are seeing this, it means we failed. But there is still hope. The code is inside you. Protect her. She will protect you. Ray stepped back, his head spinning. What is this? My father died in a lab fire years ago. The girl looked at him, her eyes soft. Your father was one of the first to help my people. The code he left in you. It can stop them. Ray felt like the world had turned upside down. All his life, he thought he was normal, just a regular guy. But now an alien girl was telling him he was the key to stopping monsters from another world. Outside the chamber, footsteps echoed. The collectors were close. Red lights flashed down the tunnel. Ray clenched his fists. No more running, the girl nodded. Her eyes glowed brighter now. Then let's fight. Together, they turned toward the door as it burst open. The tunnel door exploded open with a loud blast. Smoke filled the chamber as red lights flashed. The collectors were coming fast. Their heavy boots hit the metal floor like thunder. Ray grabbed the alien girl's hand. And they ran deeper into the unknown passage. The walls around them began to change. The smooth metal turned into old stone again. Mixed with rusted pipes and forgotten wires, the air was thick. But there was something strange, like it had not been touched by anyone for years. Yet the lights above them flickered on as they passed, as if something still remembered. This way, the girl said quickly. Pulling him into a narrow side path, I can feel something calling. Something deep. Ray didn't argue. He was still shaken from the hologram he saw, his father live, talking to aliens. Leaving behind messages of hope, none of this made sense. But the feeling in his chest told him to trust her. The path led to a giant round door. Covered in dust and strange symbols, the girl placed her hand on it, and the lines on her suit began to glow again. Slowly, the door opened with a deep rumble, revealing a wide underground chamber filled with lights, machines, and strange floating objects. Ray stepped inside, his eyes wide. What is this place? The girl looked around with wonder and sadness. It's a memory vault. My people used these to store knowledge. Before the collectors wiped us out, the walls were covered in glowing panels. Each one showed parts of different planets, maps, stars, and faces, some alien, some human. Ray walked toward one of the floating screens. It showed Earth, not as it is now, but from long ago, when cities were small and skies were full of flying ships. But this was not a dream. It was real, hidden history. Ray turned to her. You said humans helped your kind, but no one talks about it. There's nothing in books, no stories, nothing. That's because they erased it, she said quietly. The collectors destroy not only people but memory. They burn history. So no one knows who the real enemies are. Ray clenched his jaw. This was bigger than he ever imagined. Not just aliens, not just monsters, but secrets buried deep under his own city. Maybe under every city. He looked around the chamber again. Something at the far end glowed brightly. A small pedestal with a cube floating above it. The girl walked to it slowly. This is what I was looking for, she whispered. This holds the last memories of my mother. Ray stepped closer. Will it help us? She nodded. If it still works, yes, it will show the truth. Maybe even a way to stop them. She placed her hand on the cube, and it began to spin. Lights burst from it, forming a large image in the air. A city burning, ships in the sky firing lasers. Aliens running, crying, some were captured, others vanished. A woman stood in front of a group of children, her arms wide, protecting them. She had the same silver eyes as the girl. That's her, the girl whispered. My mother. She died protecting others. Ray watched. Feeling his heart grow heavy, he could feel the pain in her voice. The sadness in the memory, but also strength. The woman in the memory was not afraid. She stood tall, even as the fire came closer. Then the image changed. A human figure appeared next to Ray's father again. This time, he was giving her something, a small device. A beacon, the voice returned. Clear and calm, if the beacon activates. It means my son has found her. Follow the underground path, reach the core chamber. There you will find the code hidden in your blood. Ray stepped back, shocked. The code is, in my blood. The girl looked at him with new eyes. You're not just a human, you're a key. You're part of the last plan to stop the collectors before they could speak more. The lights in the chamber flickered, then dimmed. A soft buzzing sound filled the air. They're close, Ray said, pulling her away from the cube. We need to move, but as they turned, something dropped from the ceiling with a loud crash. A collector larger than the others. Its armor was black and sharp. Its eyes glowed red. It didn't speak. Just aimed its weapon directly at them. Ray pushed the girl behind him. Run, he said. Find the core chamber. I'll hold it off. She shook her head. No. We stay together. The collector stepped forward. Raising its weapon, just then, a strange energy burst from the cube behind them. The collector stopped, confused. The girl reached toward the cube again. Her suit shined like a star. Her voice was calm. My mother left more than memories. She left protection. A flash of light exploded. And the collector was thrown back, smashing into a wall. Ray grabbed her hand and they ran once more, deeper into the tunnels. Toward the place the message had spoken of the core chamber. Behind them, the chamber began to collapse. Machines screamed, light shattered, but in front of them, a new path opened. Ray didn't know what waited at the end. But now, he knew why she came, and he would not let her fall again. The tunnel shook behind them as the memory vault collapsed. Ray and the alien girl ran through the narrow stone passage. Dust falling from the ceiling. Her hand was cold in his. But her grip was strong. She didn't speak. But her eyes were full of focus, full of fire. They had survived another battle, but there were more coming. Ray's heart pounded in his chest. He couldn't stop thinking about what he had just learned. His father, who he thought had died in a lab fire, was connected to aliens. To this war, and now, the girl said something even more shocking. You are not just human, she had said. You are the key. He didn't feel like a key. He felt confused, scared, and angry, but he didn't stop moving. Because now he had a purpose. He had to protect the girl and find the truth hidden in the place called the core chamber. The tunnel opened into a wide, circular room made of smooth metal and bright blue lights. In the center stood a tall pillar with strange glowing patterns. The girl stopped and touched it. The pillar responded, spinning slowly, unlocking a new passage ahead. This was built by the first humans who helped us, she said, long before the collectors arrived. Your father was part of the last group to activate this place. Ray looked at her. Why didn't anyone ever tell us? Why is this not in any history book? Not in any news? Because betrayal hides the deepest wounds, she said softly. Not all humans stayed loyal. Some made deals with the collectors to gain power, knowledge, technology. They helped erase the truth. Ray felt his chest tighten. So we help them destroy you. Not you, she said gently, but some of your kind, yes. That's why the code was hidden. That's why your father died. He tried to stop them. But they found him first. Ray clenched his fists. The pain of his father's death returned, but this time with rage. It was not just an accident, it was murder, a plan to silence the only man who knew the truth. They walked into a smaller chamber with old computer screens and a medical chair in the center. The girl sat beside a panel, then looked at Ray. This is where the code must be awakened. Your blood carries a signal. A gift your father gave you when you were a child. Ray stepped forward, confused. You want to take my blood? Just a drop, she said. It will unlock the system. And tell us how to stop the collectors, but once we activate it, they will know where we are. Ray nodded slowly. Do it. She took a small needle from the panel, pricked his finger gently, and let one drop of blood fall onto the glass plate. The machine lit up at once, spinning, clicking. Then a voice spoke, soft and human. Welcome, Ray, son of Elias. Protocol unlocked. A hologram of his father appeared again, older this time, tired, but still calm. If you are hearing this, it means the last chance has begun. The collectors are preparing to invade Earth. They have already taken hundreds of worlds, but the code inside you carries a virus. A weapon, it will disable their systems. But only if it reaches their ship. The girl turned to Ray. We need to get to their ship. That's the only way to end this. Before Ray could reply, a loud alarm echoed through the chamber. Red lights flashed. The collectors had found them again. A voice came from the speaker above, deeper and colder than before. You cannot win. The girl belongs to us. The human is irrelevant. Step out now, and we will spare your city. Ray looked at the girl. Her eyes burned with anger. They always lie, she whispered. They destroy. Then promise peace. The door behind them burst open, and a group of collectors stepped in. Weapons ready. Ray stepped in front of the girl. His arms wide. You want her? You'll have to go through me. One of the collectors raised its arm to fire. But something stopped it. A message flashed across its helmet error. Core system unstable. Ray's blood had already started working. The virus was spreading through the network, disrupting their systems. But they had only seconds before backup arrived. We have to move, the girl said, grabbing his hand. There's a ship hidden below the space. It's old. But it might still fly. They ran down a spiral staircase lit by blue lights. Behind them, the collectors screamed in static voices. Machines breaking, weapons failing, as they reached the bottom. They found a dark hangar with a ship resting in the shadows. Its shape was smooth, almost like a bird. Silver with golden wings folded tight. Ray stared at it. What is this? It's a star runner, the girl said, built by both our kinds. The last of its kind, as they stepped inside. The ship lit up slowly, its systems responding to Ray's presence. The console blinked with green lights. And a deep voice said, Pilot confirmed. Welcome home. Ray took the seat. His hands trembling, the girl sat beside him. Her eyes full of tears, not of fear, but of hope. As the hangar doors began to open, and the sky above revealed itself once again, Ray knew this was not just a fight anymore. This was a mission, and it was personal. Asterisk, the old Star Runner ship roared to life. Lights flickered on inside the dark cockpit, buttons glowed green. And strange symbols appeared across the control screen. Ray sat in the pilot's seat, his hands resting on the smooth controls. The ship felt alive. Not like a machine, but something waiting. Something ready. The alien girl sat beside him, her silver eyes watching every movement. It remembers your father, she whispered. That's why it listens to you. Ray didn't know how to fly, not really, but as he touched the screen, the ship responded like it already knew what he wanted. A low hum echoed through the walls. The hangar doors above began to open, revealing a sky filled with dark clouds and red light. The collectors had followed them, suddenly. A loud voice boomed from outside, echoing across the mountains and city below. It came from the collectors' main ship, floating high in the sky like a giant black fortress. Deliver the girl within 1 hour, or this city will be destroyed. Ray looked at the girl. Her face was calm, but her hands were shaking. "They're not bluffing," she said. "They've done it before. They will erase every building, every person. Just to get me." Ray's chest grew heavy. He looked out the window. The city below was his home. His friends lived there. People he grew up with, kids playing in parks, families walking on streets. If he didn't give her up, all of them could die. But if he did give her up, he would lose her, and lose the only chance they had to stop this war. The girl stood and walked toward the back of the ship. "I'll go," she said quietly. "I won't let others die for me. They've already taken so much from us." "No," Ray said sharply, standing. "That's what they want. They want you to give up hope if we give in now. They'll come again and again." And again, she looked at him with tears in her eyes. "But how do we stop them? Their ship is too big, too strong, and we're just two people." Ray turned back to the controls. He remembered the message from his father. "The code in your blood is the weapon," the voice had said. He stared at the blinking console, then placed his hand on the panel. A soft light scanned his skin. The ship made a sound, long, deep, almost like it was waking up for real. A new map appeared on the screen. It showed the collector's ship and a red dot deep inside it. "That's their control core," the girl said. "If we reach it, the virus will spread through their whole system." Ray looked at the countdown, 53 minutes left. He gritted his teeth. "Then we hit them first." The ship lifted slowly into the air. Dust flying around it. Old engines growled, but they worked. The Star Runner turned toward the black fortress in the sky and began to rise. The city below looked so small now, but Ray could feel the lives there, all waiting, all unaware that their fate hung on one choice as they approached the collector's ship. Lasers fired from below. The Star Runner dodged fast. Rolling through the air, its wings opened wide. Glowing with golden energy, the girl took the second seat and activated the shields. Her fingers flew across the screen like music. The ship responded to her like it was part of her body. "I thought you said you weren't a pilot," Ray said. Trying to stay calm. "I'm not," she said with a smile. "But I remember how my mother flew." They raced toward the fortress, dodging missiles, flying through storms. The collectors launched drones, black and fast. But the Star Runner outmatched them all. Ray flew like he had done it 1,000 times. Something inside him had awakened, maybe the code, maybe courage, or maybe both. They broke through the outer wall of the fortress. The ship slid into a narrow tunnel inside the enemy base. Lights flashed, alarms blared, machines screamed. But the path to the core was clear. The girl pointed ahead. "There. That's the chamber." Ray nodded. "Let's end this." Suddenly, a huge metal arm struck the side of their ship. A Guardian drone, larger than anything they had seen before, grabbed them. The Star Runner shook. Warning lights blinked red. They were trapped. Time was running out. Ray turned to the girl. "If we fail, they'll kill everyone." The girl reached for his hand, her voice steady. "We won't fail. Not if we do this together." Ray closed his eyes and placed both hands on the console. The ship responded, light bursting from its wings. Energy flowed from his body into the ship. The systems overloaded, blinding light exploded outward. Breaking the grip of the Guardian drone, the Star Runner dropped straight toward the core chamber at full speed. Inside the chamber, red lights blinked and sirens screamed. Collector machines aimed their weapons. But it was too late. The ship released the virus. A wave of glowing energy, it spread like fire, fast and invisible, entering every wire, every weapon, every mind controlled by the collectors. Then silence. The lights dimmed. The weapons dropped from the collector's hands. The fortress began to fall. Asterisk, the collector's ship shook violently as explosions lit up the sky. The virus from Ray's blood had reached the enemy's heart. Systems broke down, weapons failed, and lights flickered like dying stars. The great black fortress, once silent and powerful, now screamed with alarms and chaos. But it wasn't over yet. Inside the control chamber, the Star Runner landed roughly on the broken floor. Sparks flew from its wings. Engines hissed with smoke. Ray stumbled out, breathing hard. His face was cut, his hands burned. But he was still standing, still ready. The alien girl followed behind him, her silver eyes glowing brighter than ever. "We did it," she whispered. "The virus is working." Ray looked around. Broken machines and collector bodies lay scattered across the metal ground. But something didn't feel right. There was too much silence, too much stillness. It felt like a trap waiting to close. He stepped forward, toward the center of the chamber where a black throne stood. Thick wires connected to it, and dark liquid ran through the pipes. Then the ground shook again, not from damage but from something waking up. A voice echoed through the chamber, low and deep like thunder. "You think this is victory?" From the shadows behind the throne, something rose. It was a collector, but not like the others. This one was huge, covered in armor made from the bones of other species. Its eyes burned like fire, and its arms were long and sharp like blades. It was the Overlord, the true leader of the collectors, the mind behind every attack, every trap, every lie. "You carry the virus," the Overlord growled, stepping closer, "but you are still just a human. Weak and soft." Ray didn't move. "Then why are you afraid of me?" The Overlord roared, and the walls cracked from the sound. "Because your kind doesn't know its place." The girl stepped forward, her voice calm. "Our kind wants peace, but you bring only fear." The Overlord pointed one sharp finger at her. "You were made to obey, to be studied, not to lead." Ray clenched his fists. "You stole her family, her people, her world. And now you want Earth too, but we're done running." The Overlord raised both arms, and the broken machines around the room sparked back to life. Giant mechanical arms rose from the floor, ready to crush. Metal walls sealed the exits, and darkness poured from every corner. Ray turned to the girl. "We have one chance." She nodded. Her suit glowed brighter, her voice steady. "Use the beacon. My mother's memory, combine it with the ship." Ray reached into his pocket and pulled out the small crystal cube they had recovered from the memory vault. It still pulsed with soft light, a last gift from her mother. He ran back to the ship, dodging falling metal, and inserted the crystal into the console. At once, the ship came alive again. The wings lifted, engines glowed, and a new energy spread across the chamber. A voice filled the air, the voice of the girl's mother. "To those who stand for life, for peace, and for hope, we stand with you," the Overlord screamed in rage, launching himself toward Ray, but the girl stood in front of him. Arms wide, her body shined like a star. A blast of pure light hit the Overlord, stopping him mid-air, but not for long. The force of the attack threw the girl backward. She hit the floor hard, her body still. Ray rushed to her side. "No, no. Stay with me," he said, lifting her gently. Her eyes barely opened. "You have to finish it," she whispered. Tears filled Ray's eyes. "I'm not leaving you." The ship's console lit up again. Waiting, calling, Ray carried her into the cockpit, laid her gently down, then placed both hands on the control screen. His blood, the beacon, the ship, they were all connected now. Outside, the Overlord charged one final time, his whole body glowing red with power. Ray closed his eyes. The ship responded. A wave of golden light burst from the Star Runner, rising into the air. It was not a weapon of war, but a weapon of truth. A message sent across space, across stars, to every listening world. The lights swallowed the Overlord, the chamber, the entire fortress. One moment there was rage, the next peace. The collector ship cracked apart, falling slowly from the sky like a dark rain cloud breaking open. As the ship fell, the Star Runner flew out through the fire, carrying Ray and the girl with it. The engines shook, the lights dimmed, and the sky turned quiet again. Ray looked down at her. "You did it?" he whispered. "You saved us all." Her eyes opened, just for a second. "We saved each other," she said softly. Then everything went dark. The sky was quiet again. The great black fortress of the collectors was gone. Only smoke and falling metal remained. The Star Runner ship floated above the earth. Silent and broken, lights blinked slowly. Engines hummed like a tired breath. Inside the ship, Ray sat beside the alien girl. Holding her hand tightly, her silver eyes were closed. Her skin was pale, her body didn't move. Ray tried to speak, but no words came. He just sat there, staring. His chest heavy with pain. They had won the battle. But it felt like he had lost everything. The girl who had fallen from the stars. Who had trusted him, fought beside him, and saved the world was slipping away. The ship's voice came softly. Gentle like a whisper. Vital signs low. Life support failing. Ray looked around. Desperate, there has to be something, he said. There has to be a way to save her. His eyes landed on the memory crystal, the beacon her mother had given her. It still glowed with a soft light, pulsing slowly, like a heartbeat. He picked it up with shaking hands. "Please," he whispered. "Help me." "Help her," the crystal blinked. Then shined brighter. A hologram appeared, showing the girl's mother once more. Her voice was calm, full of love. "If you carry this, it means she is in danger if she is hurt. And you believe in her if your heart is true. Then one tear will unlock her healing." Ray stared at the crystal, confused. "One tear?" he whispered. He looked down at the girl again, remembering everything, her first words. Her fear, her courage, the way she smiled at him before the final battle. A tear fell from his eye, landing on her cheek. The crystal lit up like a star. Golden light flowed over the girl's body, wrapping her in warmth. Her suit healed itself, her color returned. Her chest rose slowly, then again. She took a breath, soft and weak. But alive, Ray gasped. "You're back," he said. His voice broke as he smiled. "You came back." The girl opened her eyes, blinking slowly. "I heard you," she whispered, in the dark. "I heard you calling." They sat in silence. Surrounded by the quiet hum of the ship, outside, the clouds parted. And sunlight touched the earth again. Far below, the city stood unharmed. The collector's threat was gone. The world had been saved, but no one down there knew what had happened in the sky. Not yet. The girl sat up slowly. Her strength returning, "We stopped them," she said. "But more will come one day. The galaxy is still broken." Ray nodded. "Then we'll be ready." She looked at him. "You changed everything. You made a choice. You gave up safety to protect a stranger." Ray smiled. "You weren't a stranger for long." The ship guided them gently toward the surface, landing near the edge of the forest where it had all started. The place where she first ran to him, hiding behind trees, scared and alone. Now she walked beside him, taller, stronger. Not just an alien girl, but a symbol of something greater. As they stepped out of the ship, birds flew overhead. The wind blew gently through the trees. It was peaceful. Almost too peaceful for what they had just faced. The girl looked back at the ship. "It belongs to both our worlds now," she said. "It should rest here, where it's safe." Ray nodded. "And what about you? Will you stay?" She looked at the sky, where stars were still faint in the morning light. "I want to," she said softly, "but others need help too. There are still lost children like me out there, still running. Still afraid." Ray felt a quiet ache in his heart. "Will I see you again?" She stepped close and took his hand. You're not just human, Ray. You're part of something bigger now. You'll always be part of my story. She placed a small crystal in his palm, shaped like a teardrop, glowing faint blue. If you ever need me, she said, break this and I'll come then. Without another word, she turned toward the Star Runner. The ship responded to her touch, rising slowly, wings unfolding once more. Ray watched as it lifted into the sky, golden light trailing behind like a comet. Higher and higher until it became just a speck. Then nothing at all. He stood there for a long time, holding the crystal, staring at the sky. A voice echoed softly in his mind, hers like a whisper carried by the wind. Thank you for seeing me, not as an alien, but as someone worth saving. Ray smiled, and a single tear rolled down his cheek, not of sadness, but of hope. The world had changed. And so had he, because one day a girl fell from the stars, and he chose to stand in front of her, and that choice saved them both.